This week on Transworld Sport, we meet a free-diving yoga guru who quit her pad in England for a dive in Egypt.
If beer overcooks something, it's likely to be on the racetrack and not in the kitchen. Two years ago, Transworld Sport travelled to Brazil to meet Bia Figueiredo, a racing driver beginning to make a name for herself. Back then, she'd just become the first woman to win a race in Formula Renault. Recently, we returned to Sao Paulo to hook up with Bia once again, as she embarks on the next stage of her career in Indy Lights.
Being competitive is a Brazilian thing. I'll be the same in Indy Lights. I'm not going there for fun. I want to win. I want to fight for the title, and after that I want to have a go in Indy cars too.
Bia started racing karts when she was just 8 years old and had 9 successful years in the category. In 2002, her last and best year in karts, she finished second in the Brazilian Championship, securing her move to Formula Renault and winning her second Best Brazilian Driver award in 2 years.
This is my trophy room. It's like a history of my life in here. I won most of these trophies in karts. That's one of my favorite trophies. Second place in the Brazilian Championship. It's a really nice trophy. I also have these 2 golden helmets. The golden helmet is a very prestigious prize, awarded by the Brazilian motor racing press. I've won it twice. They both mean a lot to me.
It was in Brazilian Formula Renault that Bia achieved her best results to date. In 2005, her third and last year in the category, she finished third in the standings, with 3 wins and 4 pole positions.
We probably could have won that title, but it's the little things that decide a championship. Unfortunately, we lost some important points halfway through the season, and the races were a bit too aggressive sometimes. We finished third, but it was a fantastic championship. Every race was so competitive.
There are very few women in motor racing. Currently, you could count on one hand the number of women drivers competing in the highest echelon of the sport. And sadly, the chauvinism is not confined to the racetrack. In Brazil, women drivers are the butt of jokes just as they are in other countries. Here, a common insult is oven driver.
Brazilian men forget that we women are generally regarded as better drivers. And it's not just an opinion. We pay a lower insurance premium because they crash far more often than we do. This oven driver business they come out with is such rubbish.
Bia's success in Brazilian Formula Renault led her to South American Formula 3 the following year. After finishing 5th in her first season, her agents decided to move Bia to Europe. So in 2007, she tried to get into the British Formula 3 scene, considered a stepping stone to an F1 career. Previous British F3 champions include her compatriots, Ayrton Senna, Nelson Piquet and Emerson Fittipaldi. However, it wasn't plain sailing for Bia.
My agents thought that it would be good for me to learn the hard way in England. My life was really tough, and they made it difficult in every single way. They gave me a bicycle rather than a car. I had just enough money to eat, nothing more. I had no luxuries whatsoever. All that discipline made me grow up, and I feel much stronger, as I'm now tougher than the girl I was back in 2005.
2007 was tough for Bia Figueiredo. She didn't compete all year. At the end of it, her agents decided her future lay on the other side of the Atlantic, in North American Indy Lights, formerly known as the Indy Pro Series, the entry-level series for the Indy Racing League.
I wasn't disappointed, but rather I was bewildered. My greatest dream was to compete in Formula One. Motor racing in Brazil means Formula One. When we decided to go to the States, I was a bit confused. But as soon as I started testing with the Americans, I got really excited about Indy Lights.
This year, Bia will be joined on track in Indy Lights by another woman, Swiss driver Cindy Allemann. Female drivers are definitely making a mark in the sport, although there have only ever been 5 in Formula One. And it's tough for women, not only due to the prejudice, but the limitations of their strength. It's not just the cars that have to have grunt in motor racing.
Because I'm a woman, I don't have the same strengths in my muscles as the guys have. That's why I train really hard, so that I can hold on to the car. You need a lot of stamina in this sport. Muscle strength is very important, because during a race, I can change gear about 300 times. And then there's the issue of dealing with all the G-force through the corners. It's very physical.
Despite the support female drivers receive in the USA, both in Indy Lights and the IRL, which has 3 women drivers competing this year, Bia will have to work doubly hard to beat the prejudice. They may receive the attention of the media, but a female driver is yet to win in either the IRL or Indy Lights.
For me, it'll be a challenge to win a race in Indy Lights. Never mind to fight for the title. If that happens, I'm sure the American men will be very supportive. And that's where I want to make a difference. I don't want to be the best female driver. I want to be the best driver, full stop.
Bia will have no lack of support as she sets off to conquer the States. Renamed Ana Beatriz for the American media, she's driving for Sam Schmidt Motorsports, the Indy Lights team that's won 3 titles in the last 4 years, including the last 2.
I have great expectations, and I always ask a lot of myself, but I would prefer not to have other people's expectations on my shoulders. All I can do is guarantee that I will do my very best, and that I'll attempt to achieve the best results possible and finish the championship in the highest possible position.
Bia finished 7th on her Indy Lights debut at the Homestead Miami Speedway after starting from 6th on the grid. Driving a very competitive car and with a proven team supporting her, Bia Figueiredo, or Ana Beatriz as she's now known, looks to be on her way to the big time in the USA, using Indy Lights as her launch pad to bigger and better things.
Indy Lights is the last stage before I reach a top category, like IndyCar. That's why my results now are so important. If I succeed, I will have the chance to drive in IndyCar. And my dream is to join a competitive IRL team, one that will allow me to fight for the title.